Hello everyone, my name is Sarafi and I'm happy to meet you all. And today we are going to review day 1 of patch 6.7 of Legends of Runeterra. The Arcane event is back and it is permanent. There are no Mel or Thresh fragments like there have been for every event since they started doing these monthly events. This is back to basically what Vi and Caitlyn were, where we didn't really have any rewards other than from the Battle Pass. Instead, you get a bunch of gold vaults, which, you know, since the node is permanent, that makes more sense because it's not necessarily tied to Mel or Thresh at that point, especially for players who join the game later. It does make it a little bit more difficult to actually acquire Mel and Thresh rewards, but I think that Mel is powerful enough that that's justified. I feel like she's kind of like a Swain, and Swain had only 40 bonus fragments, given when he joined the game. Mel is getting 60s, so I think that's fair from the Battle Pass. We are currently in the 6.5 Aurelion Soul Adventure. I did not have to unlock everything. I have already beaten all of Alawi, all of Azir, at least one Garen and Warwick. I lost to Karma, and then I just decided to complete I decided to complete my 5-star mission with Mel for Viego, and then I came here to try this out. So I'll tell you a little bit about what's changed since the last time the event ran. So obviously we're on the Legendary Climb right now. Every single node is a champion node. We had to fight Fiora first, which was great. I'm glad that they put the Exodia right when I had no cards. Okay, so your first boss is Azir here, and then after we got past the first boss, we got to this point, and I believe it was either Zoe or Victor. I think it might have been Zoe. At some point, either between Zoe or Victor, it was definitely on Victor, but I think it might have been on Zoe too. Every node after that point, the enemies had 99 health. So it wasn't just that they were powerful, that they had a lot of stats, that they summoned their champion for free at the start of the game. All that stuff is true. It's a deadly area. They get doubled stats when they play a champion. They get doubled stats when the champion levels up. In addition to that, 99 health for all of them, and just like the regular Legendary Climb, you don't have a heal spot right before Aurelion Soul, and so you have to fight through 2 epic level enemies, which for me was Aurelia and Trundle. Aurelia, of course, a fantastically difficult champion to deal with, so thankfully I cleared both of those with full health. I am at 50 out of 50. Real quick, let's go over my powers. We are playing Fiddlesticks, of course, because he is insanely broken, just like I said in my tier list. You're about to see why. You guys who might doubt me, I'm going to show you why Fiddlesticks is in a league all his own. Alright. Reap, we have Mana Potion, so this is 0 mana to deal 3 damage to the enemy nexus, and then burn the opponent with 2 Gloom. We have 2 copies of Lurking Shadows, which is just 1 mana, 1/1 that summons a copy of itself. We have 2 Shadow Apprentice, which has Immortal and Dreams of Yordle, so it's all of my units that didn't start in my deck have Dreams of Yordle, so they have Impact, which means that they trigger multiple Terrifies at the end of the round, and then Immortal for Deathless. We have 6 copies of the Arachno, which will shuffle a bunch of copies into the deck. 2 copies of False Friend. Our support champion is Diana. We have 6 copies of her, and we put literally, whenever you play Fiddlesticks, you put literally all of your items onto the other champion. So I have Bonded Bucklers, Corrupted Gatebreaker, Coral Crush, Warding Charm, Immortal, Focusing Crystal, and Shadow Totem. So when I play Diana, she summons a copy of herself. Both of them get +1/+1 every time I play a spell. The copy, when it dies, it comes back as a 1 health unit that's permanent. They have Spell Shield, they have Brash, and she strikes the enemy nexus, which is very useful. And just that's like the main cards that I added. I have a bunch of Elusive somehow, which is perfectly fine. Alright, now for powers. This is the Arcane event, which means that we have teamwork back. So all of the powers that are in this run have been replaced by powers that can be discovered by champions. So instead of getting like random powers that you get, like disarmed, for example, you get the powers that other champions get as their 1, 2, and 3 stars. And for the 2 stars, they've removed the bonus mana and reduced their rarity. So let's take a look at what we got. Obviously, we have Fiddlestick's powers. He's 6 stars, so we have his 6 star, which is Bountiful Harvest. Every time you Terrify, grant all enemies Gloom, and then choose a random ally and give it +2 Spirit. Gloom is -1/-1, so every time that we Terrify, the entire board gets -1/-1, and then one of our units gets +2/+2. Disarmed enemies have -1 attack. This is doubled against deadly enemies. Mana Flow, we have an extra mana. They are close. We have an extra mana, and the game start, plant 3 copies of random followers in your enemy's deck as nightmares. So the nightmare mechanic is Fiddlestick's main mechanic. At the beginning of the game, I shuffle 9 copies of Fiddlesticks and 3 copies of other followers into the opponent's deck as traps. When the opponent draws or terrifies a trap that has a nightmare on it, that unit is summoned to my side of the field for 0 mana. Very nice. Game start, draw a champion. This will always be Diana because Fiddlesticks does not start in our deck. He starts in the enemy deck. Nowhere is safe 2. At the end of the round, Terrify 1 for each time you've damaged the enemy nexus this round. So that is the main way that we mill cards. We banish the top card of our opponent's deck for every time that we've damaged the enemy nexus. And then we also have Harmless Scarecrow, which is one of Fiddlestick's relics, that says we banish the top card of the opponent's deck every time we play a card that costs at least 3. Oh, that's right here, yeah. When you play a card that costs 3 mana, Terrify 1, while the enemy deck has 15 or fewer cards, allies have +2/+2 when overwhelmed. Okay, that's all the Fiddlestick stuff. Now let's take a look at what we got from the actual run. Carve a Path. Each round, the first time you attack with 15 or more power, rally. This was very important. This is a common power. This is Darius's 2 star. This was very important for dealing with all those 99 health enemies. We were able to actually like assemble a board of 6 characters, attack for like 30 to 40, and then attack again to push our opponent out of the game before they manage to, come back. On the case, when an ally is summoned or when an ally attacks, plant a Flash Bomb trap in the top 8 cards of the enemy deck. That is Caitlyn's power, and that is actually really good for us because it means that, that's Caitlyn's 2 star. And it's really good for us because it means that the Terrify ability triggers all traps that are in the cards that you banish. So Caitlyn's traps, Flash Bomb traps, are considered traps. So we trigger both Nightmares and Flash Bomb traps and deal a decent amount of damage whenever we Terrify. Solar Power 2, this is Leona's 3 star. Allies have Daybreak, or when you activate another Daybreak, grant me +1/+1. This was okay. It was a decent little buff until we got Breath of Light and then became insane. Hold it. Round start, Sun the strongest enemy. This is... I think the only reason that I can discover this is because it's Darius's 4 star. I don't know why I was able to get this one. I haven't been offered like any other like basic powers except for this one. Breath of Light. When you play a unit, double its stats. If that unit is Aurelion Soul, the skies descend upon all your pathetic enemies. So we have countered Deadly. Our units are bigger than their units. Fantastic. Twice Slain. Round start. If you have the attack token, create a 2-cost indestructible in hand, or if you have 1, reduce its cost by 1. This is Mordekaiser's 1 star. Decent enough. Alright, so now that we have all of that, let's go fight Aurelion Soul. Aurelion Soul's power is Cower Worship Beg. Round end, the foe summons a random level 2 champion with cost equal to their maximum mana. And Aurelion Soul, of course, has the legendary climb power, which is whenever a champion is summoned or levels up, doubles its stats. Alright, we shuffle all our Nightmares into the deck. Aurelion Soul comes down. He's got 28 attack and 30 defense. That means that he will immediately level up at the end of the round, and when Aurelion Soul is leveled up, that means that all of his Celestial cards cost 0. We don't want that to happen, so let's try and kill him. Easier said than done. We have 3 mana. Okay, we'll start with Shadow Apprentice. We trigger the Daylight, so he's got +1/+1, and then we double his stats, so he's a 6/6. Now we're going to play Diana. Okay, he's currently stunned because of our Hold It. Okay. We're going to attack this way. Alright, we dealt some damage, and then since we attacked with 15 power, we rally. So we're going to attack again. This unit is stunned because of Deathless. Alright, we couldn't kill Aurelion's soul, but we did deal 39 damage to him. Oh, maybe... I was gonna say, maybe we weakened him enough that it wouldn't work, but no. Alright, he is still stunned, but he does get free Celestials now. That's not good. Okay, we'll play Sky Shadow. That's a 10-6. There is Kaisa with Spell Shield. We don't want Kaisa to evolve, certainly. Silence. Infinite times. Kaisa now has Elusive. That's not good. There we go. Oh, she's already level 2. Oh, that's right. Yeah, I don't... It doesn't matter that she hasn't evolved yet. She's level 2 because of Aurelion Soul's power. I forgot about that. Well, that's not good. Okay. So we can block this 8-8 with our 9-9 Elusive. And we'll block the 5-6 with our 10-6. And we just can't block this. So we're going to take 13. Okay, so this is a Phoenix, which means that the first time it dies, revive it and fully heal it. So, it's not good. He's just going to keep playing all of the Celestial cards. Okay, okay. We just hit Fiddlesticks. That's huge. Alright. We're going to give Diana Deathless. Then we're going to play Singus the Moonstalker on Diana to give her Elusive. Okay. Now, Diana has Bonded Bucklers, so we can attack with Diana. Use Diana. Okay, so now we'll give Elusive to this Diana and to Fiddlesticks. And we attack with everything else. Okay, let's drag Kaisa. And this 12-7. Alright, we took Aurelion Soul down to 8. Attack again. And there you go. That's why Fiddlesticks is the best. The AoE buffs, the AoE weakens, it's insane how much you can rip through your opponent if you have him at 6 stars. So that is the hardest part of the Arcane event done, and a significant amount of XP to a champion that I have max leveled, unfortunately. Fiddlesticks is the only champion I have that is currently max level. 8,000 legend points, though. And we get a free gold star vessel. 20 Piltover and Zon star crystals, and 20 Piltover Nova Zon Nova shards. That's cool. Alright. So, let's take a look at some of the other things that we can cover for the first day. So I have Mel at 4 stars. Here's Mel's constellation. Her 1 star, her 2 star, and her 3 star, which I already talked about. Then she has Star of Bounty, plus 10 Nexus Self, and plus 100 gold. So, if you have Ambessa's star that buffs Noxus health already, then Mel can actually get quite tanky, especially for a burn character. I think she ends up being healthier than Swain, at probably about like 65 health, which is a lot for a mage. Star of Blessing, Radiant Volley has Hand Sensor. Radiant Volley deals 1 damage to a unit. And that's the spell that Mel creates in her hand when she attacks or when she's summoned. And it gives the top ally in your deck +1/+1. Good. Next up, we have your 2-cost spells you acquire in adventures have Mana Potion, Tear of the Goddess, or Child's Farming based on their cost. Now, we weren't sure how this was going to work. I was optimistic in my review video. I was like, okay, well, you know, if this is how it works for champions, then it's going to be 2 to 3 will be -1, 4 to 6 will be -2, and then 7 to grade will be -3, and that would be really good. I have discovered that a 5-cost card gets Mana Potion. So that raises questions. It seems like it's maybe 2 to 5 is Mana Potion, 6 to 8 might be Tear of the Goddess, and then Chalice of Harmony reserved solely for 9 and higher, which there's barely any of those. I'll have to experiment more and see the exact ratios, but that's what it looks like so far, which is worse, but not that much worse. If you're focusing solely on cheap spells anyway, which you should be, then it's basically the same thing because you were looking for like 3 cost spells anyway. Solar Snare has Charging Sigil 1. This is insane. This is stupid. So Solar Snare, which deals 1 to 1 unit, or the enemy nexus, then another, now deals 2 damage to everything to start with. Now, of course, it gets buffed every time that you play a card, because that's what her spells, her power does. So this makes you start at 2, 2, and 2, and then your next one is 3, 3, and 3, and then your next one is 4, 4, and 4. It's insane. Now, here's the bad part of it. So we have, here's our 3-star. This is all the stars that I just talked about. Her 4 stars right here. Then her 5-star, and then her 6-star. So you can circumvent her 4-star. You can, if you spend 80, you can go this way. But you do have to get her mana flow before you're able to get her 6-star. We haven't had a champion do that in a while. I think, except for I think Leona did that. But this is really restrictive. They've been really generous about how they've designed their constellations recently. This is expensive. I've been playing this game for ages, and you can see that, oh wait, no, you can't see. Hold on, let me move my webcam real quick. So I have plenty of wild fragments. That's why, you know, I was able to unlock all of these. But I only have 30, or I only had 40 Noxus Blast Crystals. I had to spend 10 of them to get gem crafting. So now I need to wait to get 10 more, which thankfully the Battle Pass will give me these fairly soon. I need to get 10 more of these in order to advance here, and then I can finally get her her 6-star, which I have a crystal. I have a Noxus crystal. I've had one for her. Oh, I don't know why she's Noxus, by the way. It's weird. None of the cards in her deck are Noxian, so it's weird that they chose to make her use Noxus resources instead of Piltover and Zon. That's I don't agree with that. Give me my webcam back. There we go. All right. Down here we have Star of Legends. Your support champions have Focusing Crystal. Focusing Crystal is whenever you play a spell, the unit gets +1/+1 forever. That's really, really good. And then her buffs are +1 reroll for Noxian and Piltover and Zon champions, and +75% XP for champions in my region. So that's really good. Just like the other like dual class characters, it's not just 100% for one region. It's 75% for both regions. That's really useful, but it is like all the way down here. You have to go through 3 different gemstones to get it to it. So this is 250, 250, 350. So you would have to spend 850 Noxus fragments to get this all at once. So gonna be a little bit of a time sink. That's Mel. For her level ups, she has Les gets Bounty Board, Last Breath, summon a random 1-cost unit from your regions, and Coral Crush Gauntlets, +1/+0, and Brash. This doesn't even give Les the ability to block Fearsome. If a +1/+0 only makes her a 2/1, it makes me think that maybe she was supposed to be a 2/1, because they gave Coral Crush Gauntlets to Caitlyn's 1 mana 2/1, and the justification then was, well, it lets you block Fearsome. This is... The Bounty Board is fine. She already has Last Breath, so you're already trying to get her killed anyway. So summoning a random 1-cost unit from your region is decent, but the Coral Crush Gauntlets doesn't really help you at all, so kind of a waste. Academy Prodigy, I predicted that this character would get... oh, for Lest, I predicted Skirmisher, Saber, and Phage. I was wrong. For Academy Prodigy, I predicted Pickaxe, +2 attack. Was wrong. She got Strike, Enhancing Lure, Strike, draw 1. This is a rare item. They don't usually use this item for decks that much. It's kind of useful. It does make her better if you use her as a blocker, which is really funny because her her line when she's used as blocking is it's a cannon, not a shield. She really doesn't want to block, but it makes sense that you would use her as a blocker, so I guess they're trying to say, oh, well, you'll get value out of her even if you play it on the opponent's turn. Next up is Allura. I said Allura because she was a 3-1, would get +2 health to make her a 3-3, because 3-1 for 3 just sounds terrible. So that's the giant spell. Instead, she got Skirmisher Saber, which gives her Challenger. Similar effect, so you don't really care about keeping Allura on the board because her effect is all about her playability to create an exact copy of a card in hand. So allowing her to use her 3 attack by forcing a fight into like a unit that only has 3 health left, even if she only has 1 health, is pretty useful. I mean, this is a good item for her. It's just not the one I was expecting. Next up, we have Howling Gale. I was expecting that Howling Gale would get Summon Beacon. Howling Gale is getting Ardent Censor, grant the top ally in your deck +3/+3. This makes sense in that this is an item that they don't want to buff too much, and this is... It follows with her theming of buffing people by playing spells that she gets from gem crafting, so it's perfectly fine. Next up, we have Solar Snare. I predicted that Solar Snare would get Poro Snacks and Grifter's Deck. Surprisingly, it did not get Grifter's Deck. It did get Poro Snacks. I guess they feel like her Relic, which shuffles 4 copies of a spell into your deck, is basically good enough for Grifter's Deck, but that's a paid Relic, so this feels like it's a big miss. I really hope that they reconsider this. They really should give at least one of her spells Grifter's Deck so that you can feel like you are getting value out of casting her spells multiple times. And it should be Solar Snare that does that. Funsmith. I predicted that Funsmith would be a 2-mana 2/3 with Nomad's Medallion. That is incorrect. They are getting Savage Shield, +1/+3. I mean, it makes sense because now the unit will survive forever. So you do get the bonus of +1 damage to all your spells and skills for probably at least 2 turns. But it's still not a card that you would ever spend 4 mana on. It's pretty bad and you're going to cut it. Lastly, we have Rebuttal. Rebuttal, I predicted would get Mana Potion, and it got... Or sorry, Tear of the Goddess. So it would be -2 mana. It got Mana Potion, so it's -1 mana. At 3 mana, it was acceptable. At 4 mana, it's bad. Don't play it. Alright. Now, you might notice that I originally said that there would be 2 cards that got 2 items, and we don't see 2 cards that got 2 items. I was correct that Less would get 2 items, but I expected that Solar Snare would get 2 items, and it didn't. So you might say, okay, well, are you wrong about the number of items then? No. So they did something weird. Oh, I skipped a card. Ballistic Bot. I said that Ballistic Bot would get Stud Leather, which is +1/+1, and I was correct. So I was right twice, which is better than last time, which is good. Okay, so they did something weird. For her last level up card, they gave a buff to a card that does not start in her deck, which is the Ignition spell that you get from Ballistic Bot. It is getting Hand Sensor, which means that when you play it, it will grant the top ally in your deck +1/+1. So you get this spell by summoning your Ballistic Bot, and at the start of the round, it gives you an Ignition. So this is weird. They've never buffed, like, created cards in the champion level up section. That's kind of what they created the Constellation for. So very odd that they chose to do that instead of, I mean, they could have just put that in the Constellation and then give Solar Snare the +1 damage here. Regardless, that's how Mel's Constellation looks. Now let's take a look at Thresh. Now, Thresh is, oh, I didn't cover, I gotta be careful. I didn't cover Thresh but already, so I have to kind of explain who Thresh is to you guys first. So, Thresh is a 5-mana 3/6 with Challenger, which means that he gets to choose who blocks him. And his level up condition is, I've seen 6 units die, allies or enemies. And once 6 units have died, he levels up, and his level up ability, he has Challenger, and his level up ability is the first time that I attack, summon a champion from your deck attacking. So he can literally pull another champion from the deck to attack for you, which is very similar. Like, if you played League, that's what his Lantern does. So, cool card. historically has not been a very good champion in Path of Champions. Definitely a champion that needed this buff. So let's take a look and see what the new constellation is. First up, we have Thresh's original stars. They have not been changed. Savor the Screams, round start grants an ally +1/+1 for each ally that died last round, as well as all their keywords. So for example, if you have 3 allies that died, and those allies were, let's say, like a 1/1, a 2/1 with Challenger, and a 1/1 with Tough, you get +3/+3. You don't get the stats of the units, but you do get Challenger and Tough. So +3/+3, Challenger and Tough all on one unit. That's a random unit, but it is going to buff you. They could have changed this to make it your most powerful unit that got this, to make, you know, to reduce some of the randomness and make it a little bit less frustrating. They didn't. I don't know why, but it's still fine. Even if this hits like a 1/1, you're still making a unit that was, you know, not very good better. Next up, we have Come Out and Play. +1 starting mana. Thresh costs 1 less for each ally that has died this game. This is, in my opinion, the worst 2-star in the game, because at some point it will stop being useful to you. At some point, you will, first of all, you'll play Thresh, and then Thresh will stay out for the rest of the game. So if you play Thresh and Thresh never dies after that, then you have gotten maybe like a 3-mana discount one time, and that's your entire 2-star. Not good. Other 2-stars give you benefit every single round. The other thing is, at some points, you stop getting the benefit at all. So you can have 5 allies die, and then Thresh costs 0. And that's pretty good. And I'm not saying that's not good. But then after that point, you could have 10 more allies die, and you're not getting any benefit at that point. Thresh can only cost 0. It can't cost less than 0. So I really hate this power. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just uninteresting, and it feels bad to have the power. So I was really hoping that this would be one that they changed. They did not, so kind of sad. They buffed. I know that they don't like to change old powers, but they did buff Nessus's power. Nessus's power used to just be enemies have -1 attack. Now it's I think it's enemies have -1 attack, and then vulnerable enemies have an additional -2 attack or something. Which, you know, is a minor buff, but it fit with this kit. Savor the Screams 2. Round start grants an ally +1/+1 for each unit that died last round, as well as all their keywords. So the only thing that changes between Savor the Screams and Savor the Screams 2 is that it applies to enemies as well. That's really good. Killing enemies is what you're going to be doing most of the time. So when you kill your enemies, you can take their keywords. Very cool. Very cool idea. Fits very well with Thresh. It does kind of create a situation where you need to have Thresh on the board, and Thresh has to like absorb all the souls. But that does, you know, function very similar to Thresh's damnation ability in League of Legends. So I like the idea of like a carry Thresh who gets super big with every keyword, because he's just outlasting everyone else on the board, both his allies and his enemies. Just an interesting idea. Okay. Now we move on to the things that have changed. First up, we have Thresh's 4-star, which is right here. So you can completely skip his 4-star if you want to. You can just literally go off to the rest, because his 4-star is just sitting here in the back. They did Caitlyn's 4-star this way as well, and that was very useful, because Caitlyn's 4-star and Thresh's 4-star are both kind of questionable as to whether you actually need them or not. Thresh's 4-star is Soul Hunt. Game start, summon a Warden's Prey. Warden's Prey is a 1-mana 1/1 with Last Breath, creates in hand another random Last Breath follower that costs 3 or less. When it says Warden, the name Warden's Prey is a reference to Thresh's name, Chain Warden. Thresh is the Chain Warden. So Warden's Prey, if you look at the full art, can we see the full art? Hold on. Warden's Prey is in his opening deck. Here's the full art. Literally, he's like hiding from Thresh right here. So, looks great. I don't highlight the full art on this game enough. I should. If the game was still new to me, I would be looking at full art all the time. But this game is like 4 years old, so I've seen it all so many times. I'm sorry. Anyway, so this is real. This is a new power, and technically every 4-star power gets added to the power pool. And people are really worried about this one because it's really, really bad for everyone that isn't Thresh. A 1-mana 1/1 is objectively worse than like a 1/2 that you have that gets elusive, or 2 1/1s with quick attack and augment, or 2/1/4s. There are plenty of other 4-star powers that summon units for you, 1 or 2 units at the start of the game. So this unit is by far the worst, and people don't want bad powers to be put in the pool because they don't want to be offered this power on a champion that doesn't want it. So far I've been playing Arcane, which is where all the powers have been taken out and replaced with the 2 and 3-star powers. So I haven't seen whether Soul Hunt has been added to the list of powers that other people can discover. I assume it has because everything else was, including Warwick's. And Warwick's isn't that good for anyone who's not Warwick. I will say that this power is fairly mediocre. It is really good for Thresh specifically on a very specific build. So what you do is you play Thresh with Disciple of Shadow, which is an epic relic that says, I cost 1 less for each unit you control. When you summon me, I deal 3 damage to all units. So what you do is you play Thresh with Disciple of Shadows and then Succubus Brand. Succubus Brand is when when I kill a unit, I summon a random husk, and a husk is a 0/1 with a keyword. So Thresh has the Wave in the Wind with Far Cry, which is game start, draw me if you don't have me. So he always starts the game with the Way in the Wisp in his hand. So you can play Way of the Wisp, which is a 1 mana 0/1 that summons a 0/1 when it's summoned. So then you have 3 creatures out. Thresh can then, you could play Thresh from your hand for 2 mana, because you have 3 units, so Disciple of Shadows reduces the cost by 3. And then he kills all of them. And then, because he has Succubus Brand, he now summons 3 more units. And then you can play another unit and kill all 3 of those units. And that means that you have killed 6 units in a single turn. Thresh immediately levels up, and then you also get another benefit, which we'll talk about in a moment. So I can see where they're going with this for Thresh, but I feel like it's a really bad power for anyone who isn't Thresh. And even with Thresh, you have to have a really specific build. One of his because this was the knuckle. I don't know how well you guys can see the actual picture of Thresh, but this was a knuckle. So they added one of his gemstone stars to the fingertip here. Support cards have an additional item. Okay. Now we extend out here. Star of Bounty, plus 10 Nexus Health and plus 4 regen. Okay. Thresh is a tank, so it's perfectly fine for him to get plus 10 Nexus Health. 4 regen is really good. He'll heal for 4 at the end of every fight. You can also get 4 regen for all Shadow Isles characters from Thresh and also from Viego. So that means that, and then of course you get 4 regen from leveling up. So Thresh can end up with, I believe, actually I think that, no, they changed that. So now it's up, I think it's 10 regen if you get max level. So 10, 14, 18, 20. You can have a maximum of 22 regen. If you get the bonus regen for Viego, the bonus regen for Thresh, and the Star of Bounty. This is just fantastic. I don't have anything. I don't have any problems. When the Star of Bounty gives you health, it's the best one. Okay, mana flow, game start, summon and manage them. This is perfectly fine. This is right here. You can literally just ignore it until you want it. You do want mana flow on Thresh because Thresh is a 5-cost character. But I mean, I can just come back for this. Next up, we have Star of Legends. Your support champions have Immortal. Okay, so this has very unique synergies with Thresh's Relic. So Thresh's Relic, which you have to pay for, says the champion gets Tough and Spell Shield, and then when you attack, if you are Thresh, summon a champion from your deck with less attack than Thresh attacking. But it's ephemeral, which means that it dies immediately. So your support champion having Immortal means that if you summon the copy of it from deck and it dies from when it attacks, it will come back immediately. Just like how you saw that, in that fight with Aurelion Soul, that my Diana came back immediately because she had Deathless. So this will allow you to keep your champion that you summoned on the board. And then not only that, at the end of the turn, you get +1/+1 because your ally died, and then one of your other units will gain Deathless. Probably Thresh, and if not, it could be the champion that you revived, because they don't have Deathless after they revive. So really, really solid strategy with this paid relic specifically. Otherwise, it's not particularly useful. Next up, we have Warden's Prey has Shadow Totem. Shadow Totem is, of course, when I'm summoned, to summon an ephemeral copy of me. This doesn't trigger off of the 4-star because you're not playing the card from your hand. So this would only trigger if you opened Warden's Prey and then you played it. It does make Warden's Prey a better card overall for your deck. Like, it kind of sucks that Thresh has 2 1-drops to begin with. And the Will in the Wake is already a much better card. So this makes Warden's Prey more tolerable as a card in his deck, but I feel like it's still really weak. So, I mean, it's better than nothing, but I think that they could have given a different item card to a different character here. I would have liked to see, like, more stats added to his followers. I understand that what they're doing with Thresh here is they're trying to encourage you to sacrifice as many units as possible, but Thresh doesn't really have a whole lot of ways to sacrifice units in his kit, so it's not really a feasible strategy unless you have Disciple of Shadows or Corrupted Star Fragment, which, I mean, Corrupted Star Fragment is free, but it's very slow. Next up, we have Star of Discovery. Followers you acquire in adventures have Bounty Board. Bounty Board is last breath, summon a random 1-cost unit from your regions. We saw that on the list earlier. Every one of the followers that you acquire in an adventure getting this is really, really, really good. So that means that you will be encouraged to grab as many followers as possible. Just throw them out all out on the board. They all die. You get the best keywords, and then you just let them all, you get a bunch of 1-drops that usually 1-drops will have some kind of useful keyword because they don't have very good stats. And then Thresh can just, like, swallow all of them, basically. So, yes, this just, like, it really fits Thresh to just have, like, an army of expendable units to summon more expendable units. I think this is probably the best Star of Discovery he could have gotten. Next up for his Star of Wonder, Vile Feast has Hero's Call. So Vile Feast is a 2-mana spell that deals 2 damage to a unit and summons a 1/1 Spiraling. And now it has the ability to draw a unit. Cool. That's really helpful. It just draws you a unit so that you can make sure that you can keep going. Alright, here is Thresh's 6-star. Now, this is fantastic because you can go 1, 2, 3-star, skip both the 4-star and the 5-star, go this way, and then you grab his 6-star. So this literally means that Thresh's 6-star only costs you 180 more fragments if you already have Thresh at 3 stars. And if you have Thresh at 3 stars, if you're unlocking Thresh for the first time, you spend 280 total, which is still really cheap for a 6-star. Dark Passage. When an ally dies, grant allied champions everywhere +1/+1. So like I mentioned earlier, with the build that we were talking about where you had the Disciple of Shadows and the Succubus brand, you are ending up giving +6/+6 to all champions on turn 1 because you are killing 6 units. Thresh immediately levels up. You summon a champion from your deck when you attack. You can potentially summon a second champion from your deck when you attack if his 3rd relic is his relic. And then you just blow people out. You kill a bunch of people with all the bonus stats. So it's very, very powerful. And I think that Thresh will be an effective character. I feel like it's a little bit boring, but I mean, I'm hardly one to talk. I really like Tryndamere, even though Tryndamere is literally just buff your deck and then summon a random unit from your deck each turn and reset the attack token. That's just like big number activates my brain. It's like, oh, I love big number. So I feel like Thresh will get enough big number that I'll be happy with it. So I'm kind of like, this feels too much like Evelyn to me. This is like basically exactly the same thing as Evelyn, especially considering that we're thinking about using Succubus brand with it, which means that we're going to be playing Husk, which is that's Evelyn's mechanic. So it feels like there's too much overlap, but Thresh is a better character in terms of stats than Evelyn is. And Evelyn is like a character that's really frustrating because you have to absolutely have her in your hand on turn 2 or 3 to make the strategy work. Whereas with Thresh, if you don't draw Thresh for like 5 or 6 turns, it doesn't really matter too much. You're still buffing your board. So yeah, I feel like this is like, I feel like they should have, if they were going to do something like this, I feel like they should have made it, they should have done it for Evelyn, but fair enough. Okay, +4 regen for Shadow Isles champions, +5% chance to find epic powers, and +1% chance to find legendary powers, and +100% XP for Shadow Isles champions. So, oh, and then for Thresh, his deck, they changed it so Camivore and Soldier used to have a spell Warding Charm to give him Spell Shield, and now he has Arcane Knowledge when I'm summoned draw a spell. That makes sense since they have changed it so that Vile Feast is a much more important card for you. And then the other thing is Vengeance used to have Mana Potion, so -1 cost. Now it has Tear of the Goddess, so it's -2 cost. That's a straight buff. Fantastic. Okay. The only other thing that I can tell you is that for some reason they decided to lie. So, Karma is the Enlightened one. She is the 5.5 area for Arcane. And when they did the Arcane event the first time, everyone was complaining about her mid-boss, which is Anivia. Anivia was so hard, so ridiculously hard. She would summon so many stats so early, and you would have to try and beat them off with like half a deck, right? Because you would only gone through half the area at that point. So, for some reason, they decided to change this with this event. This is the only thing they changed, other than making all the units in Aurelion Soul's Adventure have 99 health. They changed it so that Anivia is the end boss of this area, and Karma is the mid boss, and they left it as is. It's still a Karma area. It is still in Ionia, but Karma is not the main boss. Karma is the mid boss, and now you have to fight Anivia as the end boss. That's really, really funny to me. I could open this up and show you, but that would commit me to a run with Fiddlesticks, and I don't really want to do that. So that's where we're at. All right, anyway, that's my thoughts. I think this patch is fantastic, and I really like that Arcane has been added permanently. So my name is Serafi, and I was thrilled to have all of you with me.